So, hello everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon actually, and welcome to one more session of Wine O'Clock. And first of all, I would love to take the opportunity to welcome all of you and thank everyone for joining in, especially Antara right here with us. Thank you, Antara, for taking out so much of time for this session. And thank you for the participants as well, who are taking their lovely afternoons on a sunny afternoon, actually, sometime down, and being here instead of enjoying the lovely sun. They're trying to learn something, which is an amazing attitude, I would say. So thank you, everyone, for joining in. It's a lovely afternoon, and I greet you all on behalf of TB at Circle, and certainly from Antara as well. And thank you for everyone again for joining in. Just to help you understand the pattern of the session today, it is certainly a live Q&A as well included. So do not worry, you will have enough time to ask all your enthusiastic questions, whatever you would have on mind, whatever comes to your brain cells and you wish to throw on Antara. And I will also be happy to answer if there are any for me. But I think Antara would be stealing my limelight today, so I would be very happy. Once again, thank you, Antara, for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I'm actually handing over it to Antara for a quick introduction of her, but as everybody knows, she is one of the recognized industry experts in the industry of beverages and certainly wines, is the aficionado of wines, and what all I can speak about her would be less. But none to mention, I know Antara from very interesting point which comes here. I know Antara while I did my WSET, and that is how me and Antara connected. But yes, that is a small story about how and me Antara know each other. An interesting session flows through. As everybody knows, we will be discussing about the wine varietals. We will be discussing a lot about obscure wine grapes which are present in the country and not known to all of us. We'll also be talking about food and wine pairing. And indeed, a lot of you, I believe, wish to make a career in the wine industry, in the beverage industry in India. That is also something we will be talking about Antara's journey as well. How has she come all over? What does she exactly do? What is a brand ambassador? And what is it like to become a brand ambassador? Because it sounds very exciting, as hospitality also does. But when you come into the real-time scenario, I'm sure it is much more difficult than it looks like. There are a lot of job responsibilities. So we will be moving with that as well. Also trying to understand what are the trends which the wine industry and the Indian beverage industries is going through. We'll be talking about a lot of things. Apart from that, there is something, a last minute thing which we incorporated, a participation certificate for all of you. So if you're still here and wish to take it away, I would 100% recommend that there is an attendance tracking, which is compulsory to be done. Nonetheless, if you are attending the session and staying active till the end, there is one more gift for you to take away from the session, which could be one more opportunity for you to learn and grow. So keep yourself engaged, keep yourself alive here. Do not sit in the blankets and sleep the virtual classes, but I would 100% recommend keep yourself engaged. We would also ensure in between for 1 or 2 minutes, we try and engage you with live Q&A wherever you have 1 or 2 questions, so that this becomes of more an interactive session for all of us and a learning opportunity. Thank you everyone once again to join in and sharing all the love you have. Antara, all on you. Thank you for joining in. First of all, I know I can be a little talkative, but that's sometimes the job.
That's absolutely fine. This is a two-way street. Well, I'll just introduce myself, Vikram. Hi, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy Lohri Makar Sankranti. Wishing you all a very happy New Year as well. My name is Antara. It's my pleasure to talk to you all about my career journey, about how the wine industry is as of date, not just in India as well as international. We will talk about any questions that you might have about wines. That's the plan for the session, and yeah, we want it to be as interactive as possible. I have close to about 10 years work ex in the wine and beverage industry today. Currently, I am the wine ambassador with Pernod Ricard. Those of y'all who haven't heard of Pernod Ricard, it's one of the biggest spirits and wine brand across the globe. We are mostly known for our spirits brands. You must have heard of Chivas Regal, Glenlivet, Jameson, Absolute Vodka, these are all of our brands. But when it comes to wines, Jacob's Creek is one of our biggest brands. In fact, Jacob's Creek was one of the first wines to be imported into India. Apart from Jacob's Creek, we have wine brands like Campo Viejo, which comes from Spain. We have another wine brand called Brancott Estate, which from New Zealand. And we have another new wine brand, which is coming from Australia called St. Hugo. It's just been launched in the market. And we also have champagne brands like GH Mum, which is a part of Indian, landscape as such. So I started my journey 10 years ago, along with Tallyho. I don't know how many of y'all know about Tallyho. Tallyho is basically a beverage consulting firm. Mostly known for their wine education courses and bartending courses. I joined their Bangalore branch back in 2012. At that point of time, my job was, I was a fresh MBA graduate. I actually did my graduation in biotechnology. And then I did my MBA course. I'm in marketing postgrad. And then my first job out of MBA was with Tallyho. I started off with business development and marketing for their South market. And I was, for the first time, exposed to the world of, Alcobev through Tallyho. I started off selling their bartending courses, selling their wine courses across South India. Also working with different Alcobev companies, doing smaller projects for them as such. Well, I immediately gravitated towards wines. I personally did my WSET level 1, level 2, and then later on I went on to do WSET level 3 under the tutelage of Anthony Stockbridge. So I completed all these courses and I became an in-house wine trainer. So, and my passion towards wine just continued to grow. In 2015, I moved to one of the Indian wine companies called Grover Zampa Vineyards. They have their wineries based in Nasik as well as in Bangalore. And I joined the company as the training and trade marketing manager for South. So again, I was based out of Bangalore. At this point of time, my main job was not just, evangelization of the brands. I was also the brand ambassador for them, but 80% of my job was, consumer marketing and trade marketing. So what that means is, guys, how do we get wines, across the board, be it in retail or in key accounts, basically restaurants and hotels. What kind of activations we can do to get the brand, more noticeable, trying to talk to consumers, doing trainings for F&B, executives across South India. So I started traveling extensively. Though I was based out of Bangalore, I traveled very frequently to Hyderabad, Chennai, Kerala, etc. During lockdown, I also got a chance to, become a part of the social media marketing team. We also had a winery based out of Bangalore, so I also took care of the hospitality at that point of time. Wine tourism at the winery. How do we, streamline it? We started off a restaurant during the lockdown. How do we do food and wine pairing? So all of that is another thing that I gained experience with. Through my wine journey, I also got a chance to visit a lot of different countries across the globe. I have visited vineyards in Germany, in France, as well as in Italy. Last year, I got a chance to travel to Barossa Valley in Australia, South Australian state. That's where Jacob's Creek is located. When I started working with Pernod Ricard winemakers in August of 2022. It's been about 1.5 years that I've been doing. That I've been the wine ambassador with Pernod Ricard. So right now, what my job entails is simply being the face of the brand per se. A main thing that I do is, again, try and get our wine brands across as much as possible through consumer events. So I do a lot of food and wine pairing dinners, events where we do wine and cheese sessions, just casual wine tastings for consumers across South India again. Also, I do a lot of advocacy sessions for F&B, even people in the retail. So anybody who wants to know more about wines, thanks to the WSET courses that I did way back when I was in Taliho, I've gained the knowledge. And when it comes to wines, the more you learn, there's a lot more that you can learn.
Right.
There's a lot of things that keep changing in the industry. In the 10 years that I've been here, I've seen a huge shift, not just in the Indian market, as well as the international wine market. Yep. So that's a little bit about my journey.
Very true. That is so interesting. So first of all, we begin further. I would love and request our listeners to actually turn on their cameras as well. You absolutely can. This will be very interesting and engaging for all of us also seeing you here, and also peps up the speaker a little bit to help you and guide you in a better manner for everything. So requesting all of you, if you're here and can switch on the cameras, would be so lovely to see you also. That is so interesting, actually, Antara. What I heard that I did not know, you moved from an MBA to a wine industry, which is actually very exciting. And a lot of people do their MBAs to gain a lot of money on their platter. That is the first vision, to be very frank and honest. And the second vision absolutely remains questionable, but theek hai, learning and development.
Well, to be, honest, Vikram, my first ambition out of MBA was to work with an ad firm. I used to be a huge fan of Mad Men back in the day. So I always thought, I'll work with an ad company. I even did my internship with Low Lintas. I worked with Britannia back in the day. I worked with them for 6 months during my internship. And that's when I realized, maybe it's not for me because of the extremely long hours those guys work and the amount of, the work-life balance was a little off for me. So, I decided instead to try something offbeat, and Taliho happened, and I've been ever so grateful. So.
I am so interested to know that, according to you, a lot of people would certainly say, I am not asking you your salary because I know there are a lot of questionable things attached to it. But I would definitely say, as a brand ambassador, what is a ballpark figure, or between what to what can you earn? What is that bare minimum starting salary and maybe the upper?
So wine ambassadorship, especially with a company like Pernod Ricard, now they definitely require people to have prior experience. They don't really have people who are just, who've just completed their hotel management, or if they've done their courses. They need people who are comfortable talking to consumers. They need people who are confident, who have gained a little bit of experience per se. So when I joined Pernod, I already had close to about 8 years of work ex behind on my resume. And, the ballpark figure now for an Indian wine company, I would say anywhere between 8 to 14. For an international wine company, it's anywhere between 16 to 24. Yep.
Interesting. So you're saying for an Indian company within 8 years of experience?
For an Indian company, now see, there are many avenues. Now, if you want me to start talking about career paths that anybody can take in the wine industry, so there are lots of avenues that you guys can explore. First, and the biggest one that I can start off with is working with the sales team. Now, these guys basically, get to interact as much as possible, not just, when it comes to sales of beverages anyhow.
Right.
It's one is on trade and the other is off trade. When we are talking about off trade, this is basically your retail store, boutique stores across the markets. And then when there is on trade, we are talking about, your restaurants, your 5-star hotels, your chain restaurants, etc. So you can pick and choose what approach that you would want to take when it comes to sales. And then, the more you gain experience, learn more about the product first off, first thing always is learning about wines. You need to know what you're talking about when it comes to, your customers per se. So learn about the product, then, gain more confidence talking to different people, build your relationships. Next thing is you can definitely try marketing. There is a lot of different spheres that you can work in when it comes to marketing. One is the consumer marketing. Now, these guys are the ones who design the product in a way, like, talk about labels, what can be written behind it. If you are doing a relaunch, how do you do events, to showcase the brand as much as possible? Basically customer facing. How do you want your product to be presented to a wider scope of customers? Yeah, this is your consumer marketing. And then there is trade marketing. Now, these guys are basically your feet on the street per se. If you're doing an event, you deal with your vendors and make sure that everything goes about smoothly. Whatever events that you might plan, then there are activations that you run throughout the year. We all know when it comes to alcobev, the high season is it starts after Ganpati festival. Diwali is one of the high points. Dasra is end of the year, and then maybe even Valentine's Day, Women's Day, etc. So, basically your high season is starting from October to Jan, Feb. And during the off season is when, you basically make the plan for the year. You do your budgetings, you plan what all you want to do in the year, etc. Yeah. So, that's your consumer trade marketing, not just running the events, managing your vendors, but also coming up with schemes as to, what can work and will work in different markets, being, aware of their regional mandates as such. Right. So apart from that, there's social media marketing. We all know that, every company needs to be on social media, spreading the message across digitally. So the kind of posts that you plan, having a calendar in place, how do you engage customers and consumers digitally? That's again very interesting. Thirdly, there is, when it comes to in the marketing sphere itself, there is the wine tourism. Now that is come up in a huge way. If you all know how Sula operates, they drive in massive, profits through just their wine tourism. It's one of the biggest, wine tourism program in the country, even in the world. When you look at it, the number of people that they get visiting their winery and vineyards. Yes? So that is another huge part of the company that you can work with. Now, if you have, if you've done your WSET courses, you can, definitely start working with become the wine guide when you go visit. So you can explain about how wines are made, starting with the vineyards, and how once after the grapes are picked, what operations take place in your winery. Do a tasting with the people who come there. Talk to them about how you can purchase the wines. Give them info on how you do food and wine pairing, etc. Yeah. So these are the different avenues that you can always work with. Then again, brand ambassadorship is the next thing. Now, these guys basically really need to have all the product knowledge as possible. You need to really know your product. You really need to be, confident talking to your consumers. Tell them the story about how the brand is, where does it start? What are they today? What are the wines? Talk to them in a way that, they would want to try more wines. That is the wine ambassadorship is basically customer facing. Guys, you do the PR for the company on their behalf. You are the one who are your consumers are experiencing wines along with you. So that's the the major role that is for brand ambassadors as such.
Very interesting. Antara, over here in a career path, if let's say a hotel management graduate is moving into the industry and wishes to join the industry, what is the starting point? What kind of positions are we looking at them? What positions can they join, if I may ask?
Right. So hotel management students, easiest way to start is with a 5-star hotel or a restaurant. That's obvious. I mean, you already start with your internships there. See, moving towards the beverage sphere, you need to show interest, when it comes to beverages. It's a broader perspective here. It's not just wines. It's basically, all of the spirits that you're taking care of. You can always start with, service. Then if you want to try, bartending, and then there are sommeliers who are, working in the top 5-star hotels. Now, these guys, what their job is to, not just keep stocks of wines, decide on what kind of wines you need to have at the restaurant, meet with different wine company, promoters and people who are working in the sales team, decide the kind of wines that you would want to have in your wine list, plan it out in such a way that different countries are available, different grape varieties are available in your wine list. Then your main job is on the floor talking to your guests at the hotel, suggesting to them what kind of wine will pair well with what kind of food. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Very.
yeah. So that is the service part of it. What helps here is not just your WSET courses, but also your sommeliership courses. Yeah. So. Code of Master Sommeliers, they do offer introductory, intermediate courses, and then there is the Master Sommelier. I mean, there's only one country right now, so yeah, so that's another thing that you can aspire to.
Right. So understandable that if a graduate is moving out, then he may enter into sales and marketing or marketing with these kind of companies, and then slowly and steadily graduate into brand ambassador over the years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years down the line.
Absolutely. Easiest thing to do is start off with your, 5-star hotel, gain experience there. If you are serious about, beverages and wines, then you can move into wine companies, see how they work, see what kind of role really fits you, and then you can always make an informed decision thereafter. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. That sounds so interesting. So over here, if we, the major agenda, absolutely, as we were talking, remains discussing more about wines, discussing more about the grape varietals, and absolutely also discussing the obscure grape variety, food and wine pairing. So if we start with, there's so much to discuss, but if we start with the grape variety in the beginning first, and then let's take down the stream.
Yep,
so what do you think, what are the trends and how is the grape varietal right now, or what are the obscure ones?
Tell you what, Vikram, let's just start with the basics and then move on to trends.
Right.
I don't know how many of y'all, I'm sure it's all there in your textbooks, but let me tell you how basically a wine company works, be it in India or internationally. Yeah. So first thing first, if you know where your major wine countries are located, it's mostly 30 to 50 degrees latitude north of the hemisphere and then south of the hemisphere. Yeah. So the whatever countries fall in these bands are mostly known as the major wine producing countries across the globe. Yeah. So this is basically in the northern hemisphere, it's your European countries like France, Italy, Germany, Austria, Portugal, etc. Also, your Canada as well as US. When it comes to the southern hemisphere, it's New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, South American countries like Chile, Argentina. These countries are blessed with the best climatic conditions that you can have for growing of grape varieties. Yeah. So there are more than 10,000 different grape varieties grown across the globe, guys. Each and every grape variety will smell and taste different. Yeah. When it comes to the old world winemaking countries, these are your European countries essentially. These guys have been making wines for generations together. And when I'm, this is basically more than 2,000. 3,000, 4,000 years now. But when it comes to the new world winemaking countries, basically, it started off in the US and Australia. 1800s is what we are looking at, about 150 to 175 years that these countries have been making wines. And then there are the new kids on the block, which is India and China. India has been making wines for about 30, 35 years now. China, similarly, about 40, 45 years. They're still, considered among the new world winemaking countries. So the major difference when it comes to India and these other countries that fall in the 30 to 50 degree latitude is that India doesn't have a winter season. There's no snow coverage in the vineyards. So when it comes to grape growing, wine grapes are very, very different from table grapes. What you get in the market is very, very different from wine grapes. Your wine grapes are called Vitis vinifera. These grape varieties basically have smaller berries, thicker skins, sweeter juice, and lots of seeds inside it. So back in the olden days, people didn't really enjoy eating these grapes. So that's why people started making wines, especially from these grapes. And now people especially grow these grapes for making of wine. Yeah. So there are more than 10,000 different grape varieties, just wine grape varieties that are grown across the globe. Yeah. So when it comes to viticulture is basically the art and science of growing the grapes. And winemaking is basically what you do with the grapes once they are harvested. Yeah. How do you turn it into wine? So when it comes to viticulture, the major advantage all the winemaking countries have across the globe is they have a nice winter season during which there's snow coverage and the plants go into hibernation. Yeah, India doesn't have that. So how do we counter that is we prune the plants in such a way that we only get one harvest per year. You do not want to overexert the vines. VINE vines is what we call the grape plant. Yeah, they're creepers. So to not overexert the vines in the vineyards, we only harvest the grapes once a year. The harvest season for India is right now. It starts from Jan, goes on till April. So pruning works in such a way that you prune the plants, immediately after the harvest is done, and then you prune it once again to prepare the vineyards for the harvest as such. So the second pruning happens sometime in October, and to avoid basically any second or third growth. So once the pruning is done, you count the days to when you can start the harvest. Yeah. So October is when the pruning happens, after which there is a bud break, the buds turn into flowers, then the bees and the birds basically do the inflorescence, then it turns into the fruit set, and then basically all your grapes start off as hard green berries, and your black grape varieties or the red wine varieties basically undergo veraison, where the color changes. The harvest happens in such a way that you first harvest your white wine grape varieties and then you harvest your red wine grape varieties. Yeah, so this is the basics when it comes to viticulture. Now, when it comes to winemaking, you have harvested the grapes. There's a lot of, research that goes into when you should actually harvest. We do a lot of tests on the grapes. Optimum sweetness is required when you harvest the grapes as such. You cannot harvest under-ripened grape berries. If you do that, your wine will go bitterish, or you cannot harvest over-ripened grape berries. Otherwise, your wine will be too sweet. So it has to be the perfect amount of ripeness. You harvest the grapes, you bring it to your, winery, and then you start off with the winemaking process. Yeah. So first step of winemaking is always sorting of the grapes. In fact, in India, we add another step to it. We harvest the grapes, bring it into the winery, and we chill the grapes for about, half a day to a day. So that when you're, pressing the grapes, it has to be, the juice is optimum temperature, around 16 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So once the grapes are harvested, first thing we do is chill it, and then we push it through this machine called a sorting machine. These are basically conveyor belts. There are, either you have people picking the grape berries to ensure that there are no over-ripened grape berries, under-ripened grape berries, or there are, no external, leaves or anything else that is not required for making of wine. So they either take it off manually or you use machines for sorting. Yeah. So the new technology is there are machines available that can just, through optical, sorting, these machines will just blow out the grapes that are under-ripened or over-ripened. Yeah. So there you go. There's a lot of technology that has gone into making wines also. So you sort the grapes first. Then what you do is you do the crushing and de-stemming. Basically, you pluck the grape berries from your stalks. You throw out the stalks. Only the berries are used for making of wines. You can essentially make white wines with red grapes because you just use the juice. If you just use the juice is always white in color for your green color berries or your black color berries. When it comes to making of red wines, you keep the skin along with the juice. The color and the tannins come from the skin. So during your crushing, de-stemming, it'll de-stem, it'll throw out the stalk, the machines will throw out the stalk, it'll slightly crack the skin of the grape, and then you move it through to the pressing unit. Yeah, if you're making white wines. So what this pressing machine does is it slowly, squeezes the grapes. Gentle pressure is used to take out as much juice as possible. When you're making white wines, you throw out the skins and the seeds, and you only use the white juice for making of the white wine. Yeah. So when it comes to reds, though, basically you do crushing and de-stemming. The berry is slightly cracked, the juice already starts flowing out, and we throw, the skins, the seeds, the juice, everything into fermentation tanks. Yeah. So basically, as I already mentioned, the color and the tannins come from the skin of the grapes. When you ferment the skin along with the juice for the red wine, that's when you get the proper red wine as such. Yeah. So once the juice is collected, guys, we pass it into fermentation tanks. Now, these fermentation tanks are huge capacity tanks, close to about 10,000, ranging from 10,000 to almost 50,000 liters in capacity. So you collect the juice in there. For white wines, obviously there's no skin, it's just pure white juice. You add the yeast. Once the yeast is added, there's a chemical reaction that takes place. This is what we call alcoholic fermentation. The yeast will eat up all the sugar in the grape juice and convert it into alcohol. And carbon dioxide is given out as a byproduct. Yeah. So if you trap the carbon dioxide in the bottle, you get sparkling wine. And if you let the carbon dioxide go, you get still wines. When it comes to red wines, the skins, the seeds, and the juice, we add yeast to it. Once yeast is added, again, there's the alcoholic fermentation takes place. Once the wine is ready, that is when we will separate the skins and the juice. We'll filter it out. Yeah. So that is how your white and red wines are made. Then there is aging process. There are some wines that age well in oak barrels. Some wines are made in such a way that it's supposed to be drunk fresh. Yeah. So they directly bottle it from the tanks, the fresh wines. And then there are some wines that are called reserve wines. These reserve wines basically need to be aged in oak barrels. You can age it anywhere between 6 months to all the way to 3 years, depending on the style that the winemaker wants to make. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell how wines are made. Any questions, guys? Anything else that you'd like to know?
Right, here we can take down 1 or 2 questions exclusively. So anything till now you have questions. So it says red wine has more tannins than white wines.
Yeah, essentially, guys, white wines basically do not have tannins. There are very few white wines that are aged in oak barrels. Oak also gives a little bit of tannins per se, but those kind of tannins are very, very subtle. You can't really notice it so much. So essentially speaking, your red wines is what has tannins, and the white wines do not have tannins. So to easily explain how tannins are in your palate, if you ever had this fruit called jamun, purple color, fruit, very, big seed in the middle. When you eat a jamun, you get that gum drying, mouth drying sensation, right? So that is what we call tannins, and it is only available in the skin of the black grape as such. Yeah. So tannins essentially available in your reds, not in your whites. Yeah.
A very interesting thought to this, maybe Antara, you may correct me if I'm wrong here. A lot of cold tea has got that flavor to it when you especially drink cold tea.
Overbrewed black tea,
right,
which has gone cold, you can definitely get that gum drying, mouth drying sensation when you drink that. So that is what essentially is what we call tannins. Yeah.
Right. So we also answer what are tannins and used to soft tannins and everything. So we have a question, ma'am. Does oak aging also used to soften tannins, right?
Absolutely, guys. So when it comes to aging of wines and oaks, now there are some grape varieties that really benefit from oak aging. We're talking about Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, some Merlots. Now these grape varieties have thicker skins, they have a lot more tannins, and they have a lot more structure to the wine. When you age the wine in oak barrels, basically the tannins soften, yes, but it also gets a lot of added flavor profile into the wine as such. Yeah. So when we age wines in barrel, first off, we torch the barrels on the inside. The charred wood. Now, when it comes to barrels, then again, there is French oak and American oak wood, which is what generally used for making of barrels, for wine barrels especially. Yeah. So each type of oak barrel gives a different type of flavor to the wine. Also, when it comes to oak barrels, there is virgin oak, new oak barrels, and then there are used oak barrels. The size of the barrels also matter. Most of commonly used barrels are 225-liter barriques, but then there are 500-liter barrels, 1,000 liters, 2,000-liter barrels. The size of the barrel also matters. Each it completely depends on the winemaker's expression, what he decides to do with the grape variety per se. So that's aging. You can definitely age it in different styles of oak barrels and then decide what kind of expression the wine should have as such.
Right. Moving here, we will absolutely answer the remaining questions also. So we'll have to move forward because there's a lot to discuss. And in the end, what we can do, we can open this for a live Q&A. Hold on to your questions, ballpark them for a while. We'll allow you to
we'll definitely get to them.
Right. We will unmute you all. You can always interact, ask questions. So that's absolutely right there. So, and also just stay active. That's all I can say. And keep yourself a little more patient. Thank you. Yes. So Antara, over here discussing about so much while you have been speaking about wine production, we went through how wines are produced, what are different barrels available in the market, where you talked about new oak barrels, old oak barrels which have been used, maybe sherry or maybe muscle or something on the lines, or maybe a port used and then you use it for further process, or maybe a whiskey one. Just the question remains that, which was also there on the list of questions, that what are the wine grape varieties available in India? Are they different from what we use in Europe, like Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and all these?
All right. So first thing first, guys, terroir is what really, really matters when it comes to what terroir means. What it means is the environment in which you're growing your grapes. Yeah. To easily explain to you what terroir is, we are very famous for growing Alfonso mangoes here in India and exporting it all across the globe. Imagine the Alfonso mango that we've grown here in India, say on the coast of Maharashtra or Karnataka. The mangoes travel all the way to US and France, and these guys eat the mangoes and decide to plant these, mango seeds there in France and US. Do you think the quality of the fruit will be the same? No, right? Because of, the kind of weather conditions, the amount of sunlight the plant receives, the kind of soil there is, the amount of rainfalls it receives. All of these conditions, the environmental conditions, are taken into consideration, and one French word is given to it called terroir. Yeah. So to answer your question, say a Chardonnay grape variety which is grown and the wine is made, say in France in Chablis region, compared to that of a Chardonnay that is grown in Barossa Valley or in Australia or in India, the grape variety is the same, but the expression of the wine is different basis the terroir. Yeah, the amount of the sunlight it receives, the amount of the kind of soil there is, all of this is taken into consideration. Even if it is the same grape variety, there might be few similarities in how the wine tastes like, but you see the expression of the wine is very, very different from different parts of the country as such. Yeah.
Very, very true.
So coming back to, let me just answer another question of yours. The different grape varieties that are very famous here in India, when it comes to white wines, there's Chardonnay, there's Sauvignon Blanc, there's Chenin Blanc, there's Viognier, there's Pinot Grigio. These are the most famous white wine varieties here in India, across the globe as well. When it comes to red grape varieties, there is Cabernet Sauvignon, there is Shiraz, there is Merlot, there is Pinot Noir, there is Sangiovese, Tempranillo. These are the most famous red grape varieties that are grown across the globe, also in India. Then again, when we talk about, offbeat grape varieties or obscure grape varieties that is gaining traction now. So in the industry, what you see is people who have been drinking wine for a lot of time have kind of gotten tired of the grape varieties that are always there in the market and trying out different grape varieties from regions that have not been so very easily available here in India. Now I see a lot of regional Greek grape varieties or wines from Georgia, countries that have not been been represented in our liquor shops, wine shops till now. These are the ones that are really gaining traction. Yeah. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to industry trends is people are getting more and more health conscious. People are, when it comes to spirits and wines, obviously wine is always the healthier option compared to that of your whiskey and vodkas. Not only there is lesser alcohol content here, but there's a lot of antioxidants that are present in your wines, which is good for your heart, good for your skin. Yeah. What we notice right now is, people are going for low alcohol or no alcohol wines. Yeah. So there's Jacob's Creek, for example, right now have come out with, a brand called Jacob's Creek Unwind. Now, these wines have less than 0.5% alcohol in it. So we are using new technology called spinning cone technology to remove the alcohol from the wines, so that, people who want to enjoy a party but don't really want to get high, want to, be in control, or if they are planning to drive back home, etc., whatever your reason may be, would rather have a, glass of non-alcoholic wine compared to that of, say a juice or a Pepsi. Yeah. So that these are the trends that we are seeing in market. People are going for healthier choices, low alc, no alc wines. Also, people who have already been in the wine, who've been enjoying wines for a long period of time, are looking for, cooler labels or cooler, grape varieties that they might not have tried, different countries that might not have explored. So Indians are known for, traveling across the globe nowadays. We all know that, people have started traveling a lot more. These guys go to different countries, try out the wines there, and they want to see something, where they travel to. They want to see these wines in their wine shops as well. Yeah. So that's what we are seeing right now. Yep.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Over here, certainly, we have not been born and brought up as Europeans have been. They have been drinking, eating wine, and certainly enjoying the feast of it on every Thanksgiving. And
Not just that, Europeans literally drink wines with every meal that if they can. Yes.
So while we talk about it, I so miss my days in Europe. It's actually a different world, because you just walk by every vineyard you were staying near to. And that is so interesting that you get to see and live that kind of life every moment. But over here in India, we do not have that time and capacity, or maybe availability, because our liquor stores are way different and our supermarket stores are way different. But over there, the supermarket stores also have the inventory of having wines in their kit. So starting as an Indian kid, where I do not have any experience to wines, what would your recommendation be if I want to start training myself over wines at home maybe? How do I start that? Maybe with what type of devices, or maybe what type of strategy?
Okay. So what I say is always education is what helps. That's the reason why I have a job. Yeah. So guys, when it comes to wines, the more you know, the more comfortable you are. People are already a little hesitant when it comes to wines because, God, there are so many grape varieties. You don't even know how to open the bottle sometimes if it's closed with a cork. Yeah. So educate yourself as much as possible. There is so much information available on the internet nowadays. Learn more about the different wine countries across the globe. Learn more about the grape varieties. Each and every grape variety has its own kind of characteristic aromas and flavors on the palate. How different same grape variety from different parts of the world would taste and smell different. All of these things you can learn. There's a lot of information out there. When you are new to wines, what I always recommend is start with experimentation. See what kind of wines that you enjoy, whether you like white, reds, rosé, sparkling, or fortified wines. Then you go on and try it with food. Yeah. So the reason why Europeans drink so much wine is they always pair their wine with food. Yeah. So when it comes to food and wine pairing, as Indians, we generally eat with our hands. We eat rotis, we eat dal chawal. it is not something that can easily paired with wine per se, but European food is something, continental food, if you look at it, slightly drier in style, and that's why people tend to drink wines with it. Simple rule when it comes to food and wine pairing, guys. You must have already heard this: white wine with white meat, red wine with red meat, but that's not all of it. Also think about the sauces that are used, how the meat has been prepared. Yeah. Also think about the vegetarians. Vegetarians are also supposed to try food and wine pairing, right? So first thing first, when it comes to white wines, try and pair it with easier cooked meal, fresher foods, easily cooked meals. Think about your salads. Think about palak paneer. Think about when you think about chicken dishes, your chicken malai tikka will pair well with a white wine. Your chicken tandoori tikka will pair well with a red wine. Yeah. So think about the way that the meat has been prepared. Think about the kind of sauces that are being used. Think of the kind of masalas that are being used. Your white wine basically will go well with lemon vinaigrette kind of dressing. Fried appetizers will go well with white wines. Creamy, cheesier foods will go well with white wines because white wines have a little bit of acidity to it. Acidity basically is that mouth-watering sensation. Like when you cut a lime in half and you put it on your tongue, you get that the sides of your mouth watering, right? That's what we call acidity in wines. And it is abundantly available in your white wines. So your creamy foods, your oilier foods, your appetizers will pair really well with your whites. And when it comes to red wines, basically it'll go well with heavier foods, slow cooked foods, roasted, barbecued foods as such. Yeah. So think about foods like your aubergine, bangan, or think about mushrooms. Those which have a lot of earthy umami flavors will pair well with red wines. When it comes to non-vegetarian options, your chicken dishes will definitely pair well with wines, red wines. Basically, your spicier style of chicken, or chicken which has been roasted or barbecued, like your chicken tikka masala, is a perfect example. Also think about your red meats. Your mutton rogan josh will pair really well. Your mutton biryani will pair really well with red wine. So these are some examples. Then again, there are different grape varieties that you specifically pair with different kinds of wines. All of the information basically is available on the net. The more you learn, the more you try wines, the more you will be able to learn about it. Yeah. So when it comes to tasting of wines, remember, follow the 4 S's. Look at the wine. When you're looking at the wine, you're judging the wine by the color. The color of the wine basically tells you the age of the wine. White wines, basically, the lighter it is, the younger it is. And as a white wine ages in the bottle, it becomes darker in color. Red wine's exactly opposite. The darker it is, the younger it is. And as a red wine ages in the bottle, it fades in color. Yeah. So that's the first step. Looking at the wine, see the color. The next step is nosing the wine. Now, when you're nosing the wine for the first time, do it before swirling to check whether the wine is in good condition to drink or not. If you get any bad smells of vinegar or wet cardboard, wet newspaper, or rotten eggs, or nail polish remover, or anything like that, that means your wine has gone bad. That means the wine has expired, or somebody has left the bottle open for a long period of time. It's preferable not to drink it. There's no harm if you drink it. It's not poisonous or anything. You can still drink it, but you won't enjoy it as such. Yeah. So if you get any of these bad aromas, use the wine for cooking. Maybe do not. You might not enjoy it as much. Next step is swirling the wine. When you're swirling the wine, you're letting the wine come in contact with oxygen so that the aromas in the wine open up. Yeah. The more you swirl, the more the wine will, basically interact with oxygen. The more aromas will come out. The more the wine will talk to you as such. Yeah. So nose the wine. This is where you try and differentiate between different grape varieties. Yeah. So is the wine fruity in nature? If it is, what kind of fruits is it displaying? Is it green fruits or riper fruits? When it comes to white wines, it's mostly citrusy or stone fruits is what you get on the nose. When it comes to red wines, it's strawberries, blackberries, black cherries, plums, etc. Yeah. Spice is another layer that can be added. It could be the grape variety itself expressing, or if it is aged in oak barrels, you definitely get that vanilla, cinnamon kind of aroma, or coconut-like aroma, which comes from aging in different styles of barrels per se. So if your wine, white wine, for example, has a little bit of that buttery, dairy kind of aroma, that talks about a different kind of winemaking technique called malolactic fermentation. Basically, by just nosing the wine, you can you can guess how the wine has been made in the winery, what kind of techniques the winemaker has used. You can also guess how old or young the wine is. Yeah. So all of this, guys, doesn't happen in a day's time. It takes a lot of practice. Yeah. Lastly, on the palate, when you're judging the wine in your mouth, check whether the wine is dry or sweet. Check the acidity in the wine, how much your mouth waters when you take a sip. When it comes to tannins, how dry the wine is. How much basically your gum drying, mouth drying sensation that occurs in your palate as such. If it stays, if it is very mouth puckering, that means the wine is very high on tannins. If it is well integrated, very round, very smooth, that means it's slightly lower in tannins. We talk about body of wine, light, medium, full-bodied wine. How do you talk about body is, think about a glass of water, think of a glass of skim milk, think of a glass of orange juice, yeah? The weight of the wine on your palate is how you describe light, medium, and full. And then finish of the wine. How long does the taste linger on your palate, yeah? The longer the taste lingers, the longer the finish. So these are the things that you should keep in mind when you're professionally tasting wines as such, okay? And lastly, always decide whether you like the wine for yourself or not.
Right. It seems like we are doing a small snip course or a small certification actually. This information what you have bombarded on everyone.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
I would totally say those kind of technical terminologies, malolactic fermentation and whatnot comes through Antaras, and you can absolutely jot them down, Google them. That is the best way to learn. And during my entire experience, I am sure Antara also did that. We used to actually smell fruits and a lot of vegetables, sniff them to understand how actually pepper smells. How does cinnamon smell? How does, and again smelling them. So what I did in my initial career of wines, I made a small box for myself. And I kept a lot of berries and a lot of dried fruits in it, a lot of spices in it, and dried pepper and stuff. I also did that in sun for myself and made a small box out of it. And always used to smell them, sniff them to train my nose. And when it came to real wine drinking, because that is a less opportunity being in an Indian household, because your mom is, oh, ab tu sharab piyega. That is the kind of jokes and things which I understand as being a student do come across to you as an Indian household.
Absolutely. Being a woman in the wine industry is also not very easy, I must say.
Yeah. I totally can understand all those challenges coming all. So this could be a very good way, and certainly tea, coffee to understand tannins. Cold tea, coffee could be one way, and sniffing is always available. Smell, and the more you smell, the better you get, because that is how your nose is trained, I believe.
Yep.
Something very interesting which we had been talking about. A lot of us do not understand how business of the wine industry works. That would be the which I would love to discuss, and then maybe we can open it for Q&A.
All right. So guys, when it comes to India, each and every state has their own excise policy. So, if you are a wine company working out, having your wines available in different states across India, you have to treat each and every state like its own country, because the laws are different in each state. Yeah. So for example, Karnataka, I'm based out of Bangalore. I'll talk about this. This is a, cash and carry market. It's a corporation market as such. I'm sorry. Basically, the Karnataka government regulates, all alcohol here. So you have to, when you're not launching a new brand, you have to register the label along with the government. You have to let them know that this wine has been launched. Give them all the information, the amount of alcohol it has, the kind of grape variety, where it has been made, etc. Once, they have approved your label and your wine, you can then you make the wines, and then you transfer it across different depots across the state, and your retail shops, as well as the restaurants will pick it up directly from the government, and then the government will pay the wine company back. So that's how the business of wine is, especially in corporation markets. Yeah, but then again, in Maharashtra, that's a distributor-driven market. So we pick our distributors, and we interact with them. We directly sell our wines to the distributors, and distributors are responsible to get the wines out there in different liquor shops and different hotels as such. Yeah, along with the sales team that the company works with. So now these are the different models, how it operates here in India. Across the globe, again, it's much easier. You can have your wines available pretty much, in supermarkets, wherever you would want to. You don't really need a special license to even host a commercial wine tasting through your own home. So it's much easier, abroad compared to that of India. Here, there are a lot of rules and regulations in place when it comes to how you, market and sell your wine.
Right. Because I think the pricing also differs so much because the tax indeed in India is too high. Almost 150% of what
150%, especially for your imported wines. Whenever they do come in India, there's 150% tax, that is already levied, and then it comes to different states. Different states also levy their own taxes.
Right. Because maybe a good pot in Europe would cost you about 10-15 euros. That would be about 2,000 rupees max. And in India,
it's almost triple the price when it comes to
India. You will end up paying about 15,000 or 20,000 rupees for that same bottle. And that was so surprising to me. And a 3 euro wine could taste fabulous, but in India, that wine same would cost you about 4,000 or 5,000 rupees. That is massive taxing system. That is why I think we as Indians do not have too much wine in our systems.
Yep.
Maybe you should put some word to Karnataka board, or if somebody contacts
you know how it is. Governments have their own rules. There's not much we can do to influence it.
I am sure. Right. So before I thank Antara and I do anything, I would love that we can open this session for Q&A. But the Q&A certainly does not say that it's the end for the day. That is the time Antara says bye-bye to all of you. There is few informations we would love to roll out regarding your certification, participate into certification for today. So please stay here if you really need one, because we are absolutely tracking the attendance. Because if you did not learn, does not matter, a piece of paper would not do any justification in your life. And we are absolutely against giving a certification if you have not attended it. So trust me, there is no certificates for non-attenders and non-participants. We were too stringent about it since our lives, and that is how, and I'm sure Antara also would agree to that. No learning, no certification.
All right. Any questions that you might have, guys, please feel free to switch on your cameras. We can talk about it.
Yes, you can absolutely switch on your cameras. You can unmute yourself from now on and ask your questions. Highly request that you be a little civilized because we have too many people here. So we can take one from Arpit. Arpit, would you like to switch on your camera, maybe unmute yourself? Or you're still, all of you are chat babies? We can do that. So, okay.
Drop questions in the chat, that also works.
Right. Okay. Question from Vedashiri. It says, so Indian wine industry is its infant stage. What is the future of Indian wine industry exactly?
Well, to give you a little bit of history when it comes to the Indian wine industry. Yeah, so we started making wines back in the late 70s, early 80s onwards. Today, one of the oldest vineyards is Global Zampa Vineyards. These guys have been making wines since 1986 onwards. The biggest brand of India is Sula. Then there is also Fratelli that makes excellent quality wines. There are a lot of smaller boutique wineries and vineyards that are located all over Maharashtra and Karnataka. When it comes to Indian wine industry, close to about at least 70% of the wines come from Maharashtra, and the smaller percentage basically comes from Karnataka. There are some wines that are already being made in Telangana, etc. Sula being the biggest player in the market, you must have already heard these guys have recently gone IPO. So, So that is a little bit when it comes to the Indian wine industry. It has, I mean, when I started off back into 2012, it was in its very nascent stage. You know, there were not many brands out there. There was not much knowledge out there when it comes to wines. Today, we see a lot more of the younger generation. They're very, they don't really have any reservations when it comes to wines. They want to know more. They're not intimidated when it comes to that beverage. They are so open to trying different wines, different grape varieties. So, you see a massive growth. There has always been a steady growth in the wine industry, and I'm sure it has a huge future, especially in India here. Yeah.
Right. So we have one more question right here, which says from, oh, sorry. We have wine pairing are done considering English food culture when it comes to food and wine pairing with Indian wine. Are they okay, I think he wants to say, do they pair some
with Indian food with Indian wine is what
right.
you're asking. Definitely, guys. Always, I would suggest always experiment with Indian food and Indian wine. When it comes to wines, the white wines will pair really well with paneer dishes. Your paneer, dry as well as gravy dishes. It'll pair really well with hara bara kebab. It'll pair really well with different types of salads. It doesn't really have to be a Caesar salad or something that is Conti in nature. But yeah, even your Indian food, Indian salad, sabzis will pair really well. Rajma chawal will also pair really well with your Pinot Noir or a lighter style of red. Your pulses, kali dal, your biryanis, veg biryanis, chicken biryanis, mutton biryanis will pair really well with wines. So will your butter chicken and naans, your palak paneer and your naans, South Indian food, North Indian food, pretty much anything and everything can be paired with wine as long as you're adventurous and experiential. Yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of biryani lovers, and Zomato also said they increased their sales almost 10,000 orders per minute on the new year in 2023 itself. So what do you think? What would be a nicer grape and an Indian wine you would love to pair with biryani maybe?
All right. So I would always recommend, Jacob's Creek has this really lovely wine called the Jacob's Creek Double Barrel. Now, this is a very interesting wine because it's made from Shiraz. Shiraz is the main biggest grape variety from Barossa region of Australia. So the Double Barrel is made with, two different styles of barrels. We not only age the wine in wine barrels, we also age it in used whiskey barrels. So we have our sister company, Chivas Regal, which is located in Scotland. We bring the used whiskey barrels down from Scotland to Australia, age the wine for a little while in the used whiskey barrels, and then we bring it out into the market. So it's a special wine. We know people in India love whiskeys. So this is something that is, proven to work really well in the Indian market. It's just been launched in lockdown and it is still new on the shelves. So Jacob's Creek Double Barrel will pair really, really well with your mutton biryanis. I will highly recommend it. It'll pair really well with Rogan Josh, your Ran dishes. It's basically a match made in heaven. Do try it out. The Brancott Estate Pinot Noir. This is basically from the Marlborough region of New Zealand. This will pair beautifully well with your veg biryanis as well as chicken biryanis. So that's my recommendation for you all when it comes to biryanis. Yes.
Okay, we have a question here. Being the oak barrels, does the oak barrels change the tasting notes and aromatic qualities of wine?
Absolutely.
But does it also affect the texture of wine? And what would be the major change that you can notice?
Yeah. So when it comes to different styles of wine barrels, let's talk about the two different styles of wood first. We have spoken about French oak and American oak. These are the two main styles of wood that we use for making of wine barrels. Your American oak basically gives the wine a little bit of a coconutty aroma. Your French barrels, on the other hand, give sweet spices like vanilla and cinnamon. Yeah, so that is one of the main things that you can use to differentiate. Again, you need to train your nose properly for that. The size of the barrel also matters. The smaller the size, the more the oxygenation per se. The bigger the size, this surface area of wine coming in contact with the barrels is like more. But the amount of the oaky taste, what we already spoke about, the smoky coffee mocha kind of flavor and aroma that you get from aging the wines in oak barrels basically gets lesser and lesser the larger the barrels are. Yeah. So if you want a lot more oak influence in your wine, you need to use smaller barrels, newer barrels, and lesser influence, bigger barrels, more used barrels as such. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Great, thank you. We have actually two very interesting questions, one from Rashi and from Danielle. Rashi also is focusing towards the same thing, and I think Danielle also focuses towards the same thing. They both are asking what are the potential health benefits of modern wine consumption, which is a very interesting question. So basically the nutrition value, because we are all counting the macros and micros of whatever we eat and drink these days, and what makes the wine special. Rashi, I think that is something what makes the wine, what she will answer. Right.
All right. So guys, when it comes to wines, right, I mean, it's always the healthier option. I've already mentioned this before. When it comes to any type of alcoholic beverages, basically your wines have a lot of phenolics and antioxidants in it. This is what basically your green tea also has antioxidants. It's good for oxygenating the blood. It's good for, basically your heart patients, for example. Yeah. So opens up, this is again, broadly speaking, each person will have their own experience when it comes to wines. Again, moderation in drinking is again very, very important. You cannot drink a bottle or two of wine and say it's good for your health. Never works, guys. So think about, a glass of wine per day, or maybe 2 glasses of wine per day is what is the best that I can, recommend. Keep a day or two in your week where you don't drink any alcohol, just to, give a break to your body so that, it rejuvenates as such. When it comes to wines, especially your red wines are what are very rich in antioxidants and phenolics. This is basically good for your heart, good for your skin, because of the antioxidants as such. Just Google it, guys. You will see a lot more articles on how compared to your hard liquor like whiskeys and vodkas, wine is always a healthier option. Yeah.
Right. So all the ladies in the house, for your skin, now red wine works.
Yeah, there's another trend that I've been seeing when it comes to wine industry. Wine spas is what is it's taken off in a big way. So
I'm sure you go to GK and you will see it flooding around.
Yeah, totally.
Right. And that is actually a thing. So I recently visited Greece, and they have hammams there, a lot of them, and Turkey as well. So they had something called as a wine hammam being introduced in the modern times now. And that is so interesting to see. Interesting. So we have one more question, which comes from Tanishta. Ma'am, does the wine, being a wine taster, means restricting certain food from the diet for better tongue sensitivity?
All right. So, you don't really have to restrict your food per se, but before you start your wine tasting, do not drink, or eat something that will overly affect your palate, like, too much onion or garlic. It'll basically stay on your palate for a long period of time. If you drink black coffee, for example, the heaviness of it will stay back in your palate. So when you start with your tastings, try and make sure that your palate is as fresh as possible. Other than that, I would always suggest try as many foods as possible. Do as much as you can when it comes to food and wine pairing. Don't restrict yourself when it comes to food.
Right. Maybe just one more last question, Antara, because I know it's over the time limit also. But follow-up question from my side would certainly be, Antara, do you think there is something which is called as a palate cleanser for especially people who wish to enjoy their wines in the fullest manner? Would you recommend something?
What is the best palate cleanser? I would always say this, whenever you are drinking your wine, tasting wines professionally, guys, do not drink it down. When we are tasting wines professionally, we are tasting close to about 40, 50, 60, about 100, 120 samples in a day. Yeah. So this, you always take a sip, nose the wine, check the color first, nose it, take a sip, roll it around on your palate and spit it out. Yeah, when you're professionally tasting a lot of samples, always keep a glass of water. Take a sip of water, gargle it out, drink the water, make your palate fresh as possible. Bread helps, neutralizing the palate. Coffee beans help to neutralize your nose. Yeah, so these are the things that I can recommend as palate cleansers.
Indeed, and keep your personal hygiene maintained. Brush every day.
Obviously, so that is something that goes without saying. Do not wear very strong perfumes when you're tasting wines. Keep yourself as much as aroma free as possible, so that all you can focus on is the wines. Yeah.
Right. So I just will take one last question. Good afternoon, ma'am. That's Lakshay Uppal. My question is, how can we build strong relationship with distributors, retailers, restaurants to ensure wine readily available for consumers?
Okay, so this comes from, repeated meetings. It's not like you'd build a relationship right off the bat when you meet a person for the first time. It takes a lot of effort. Take an interest in their lives, just like how you make friends, guys. Take an interest in their life. Think, repeated conversations is what always helps. It's not rocket science.
Very true, very true. So I have been in sales from I have not been in sales professionally, but I have been doing sales because my company asks me to do it. But I thoroughly enjoy doing sales. And I think one of the efficient part, what Antara also mentioned, meeting them repetitively, a good follow-up takes you a long way. And sometimes we shy off on taking follow-ups. Arey yaar, wo kya sochega? I think I will always drop down to that person. And recently, I think we got our calendars printed. And that is how they look like. And I think that is such a great marketing technique and tool, because you stay on somebody's desk for next 1 year and you constantly remind them, oh, TBH circle.
Yeah. So the thing here is, your activations, the items that you give away with wines always help. So when you're doing trade marketing or consumer marketing, we always keep a budget aside. So, during your high season, during your festivals, giving a bottle of wine with a glass or an opener or, something simple always goes the. Yep.
Right. You may finish off the wine, but you will never throw the wine opener. You will never throw the wine glass you will receive, because you will see a lot of people using that. I don't remember the brand. But a lot of brands do that, giving whiskey glasses, wine glasses away with one bottle of wine, because that resonates in your mind that, oh, this is the wine brand I know. And you will again and again continuously go back to the shop and buy that wine again and again. And I'm sure every brand does that. So that is a good way. Always. So, Antara, this is absolutely a pleasure and such an interesting conversation. Oh my God. 1 hour seemed like too much of knowledge for me, for sure. Because
I'll apologize if I gave out too much, when it comes to wine.
It is very good. I think that is a great mentor's job, because you know so much and you have restricted time, but you still want to give away everything you know. I think great mentors are great talkers also, and too much talkers like me. Not to mention, I always keep on appreciating myself in the end.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all the emojis people are sending out. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I guess really enjoyed the session.
Right. So before we actually even say goodbye, I would love that everybody can switch on their cameras. We can click a picture together. This would be such an interesting thing to do. As we have Antara on board with us. Small opening of your camera, because this will also show us that you are present and attending. I see some similar faces and familiar faces to me, whom I know personally. Oh, we have Anisha, also one of our team members. So thank you, Anisha, for putting up so much of effort. She has been coordinating with a lot of colleges, people, and everyone out here. So thanks, Anisha, for doing that. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. It's been a pleasure.
Right.
Yes.
So please switch on your camera, because this is going to be a picture time, and a very interesting thought process goes to our brain, because Antara is a marketing professional. So we also think that this will also drive a lot of traffic for us and for Antara. So what we have devised is that we will track your attendance through social media as well. So what you could do is quickly take a crazy picture with Antara, and you could tag Antara for sure on Instagram and TBH Circle on Instagram quickly. And this to know that you were present in the session as well. So please feel free to tag Pernod, Ricard, Jacobs Creek, and Antara and TBH Circle for sure, so that once we know that you have tagged TBH Circle, we will know that we can track your attendance. So do take a screenshot and tag us all down there. And we would love to have your questions also later, and giving you few seconds to take a screenshot, and please feel free to tag us all across. We will love that, and we will know that you have actually been attended the session little more proactively. That is the only
All right,
concern.
guys. I've already shared our handles. Please feel free to tag us.
Right. So be quick, be nice. You can do that after the end of the session as well. But definitely do that. This is one of the ways we will know that you have been attending the sessions very actively. So quickly take a screenshot, and we will know that you have been attending actively here. You had been present, and tag TBH Circle, tag Pernod, and we will know that you had been attending the sessions very actively. And your certification certainly goes with the attendance, no doubt. All right. Antara, thank you for pulling out so much of time.
My pleasure entirely. Thanks again, Vikram, for inviting me.
Learn and grow. Thank you so much on behalf of the entire TBH Circle fraternity and the students as well. I'm sure they do not want to speak up, but I will say thank you from their side and take that opportunity. And I hope this relationship grows more, and this new year we do something very interesting for all of our learners as well. And thank you again, Antara, for coming on board.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, if you have any more questions at all that was not addressed, I've already shared my handle. Please feel free to get in touch with me. Always happy to nurture the love of wine with people as such.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you, Antara, once again. Everyone, just to help you understand receiving your certificates by the end, please stay back for 1 minute so that we can just brief you about your certificates as well. Thank you, Antara.
Right, I take my leave. Thank you, guys.
And
Pleasure
have a great year, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Right. So everyone, just to help you understand about your certificates, what we could do is you will receive your certificates once we have tracked down your attendance as well, because I'm sure 40 people almost staying back. That means you are interested in your participation certificate, and we wish to know that you have been staying alive and active here. Just to let you know, once you have received your certifications, we have one more gift to give away for all of you. We had decided that people who have been actively attending and will receive the certificates would also get a small giveaway from all of us. That is one of the upcoming management training workshops on next Saturday, I believe so, if I am not wrong with the dates. Yes, next Saturday, that is 20th of January, we will be hosting a interview preparation and management training interview preparation workshop free of cost for all of the learners who will be receiving their certificates. And you can join this workshop once you have uploaded your certificates on your LinkedIn. So it's a very interesting way to also optimize your LinkedIn, activate it, and also keep your recruiters updated that you do such things. That is where, because we all know when we sit for an interview, before we even go to the interview, our interviewers do know about us. So what you need to do is, as soon as you receive your certificates, go ahead, upload them quickly on LinkedIn. And once we receive that you have tagged us by the name TBH Circle, we will quickly send you the link to the free management training and interview preparation. Whether you're in a second year, third year, first year, this would be a very interesting session. And if you have already completed all your interviews also, do not bother about it, because this could be a really good opportunity for you to learn and grow. We will also help you with a live Q&A, and we know that a lot of students would not actively do that. So we kind of have anticipated that this is going to be a very closed group. So please make sure that once you have finally received your certifications about the today's session, you quickly upload them on LinkedIn before you forget to do that. And you will receive your certifications by the end of the day tomorrow. That is Monday. That is 15th of January 2024. So kindly be active and upload them on LinkedIn. Also, just for an information, a lot of people who do not know that TD8 Circle is a learning and development platform and a training platform for all the youngsters. We have been preparing more than 2,000 students for their management training program. We also run 2 boot camps, which is one is the sales and marketing boot camp, and the second is the human resource boot camp for all the learners. We have from last 2 years been running our own certifications in wine, which is called as the Wine Bacchus. We have right here the small pin which goes along with your certification, a very interesting pin which looks very fancy and indeed goes to your wine certification once you have completed with us. You do this certification with one of the best minds in India who are already wine sommeliers internationally. Also, any program you do, whether you do a boot camp, whether you do a wine certification, whether you do a management training interview preparation, which is our flagship program called Young Leaders Bootcamp, or any of the programs, the best part is you get into a community where you can ask and continuously grow and learn, which no other program at the moment gives you and offers you. We offer a 365 days of support aggressively where you can learn and grow. In 2023, we have trained more than 500 plus students for their management training interviews in the area of hospitality. And we are proud to say that 97% of those students have been placed at amazing hotels, and they are indeed working as management trainee with ITC, Oberoi's, Taj, you name it, and I think you will have it. 2023 was a great year for us, where we also had an opportunity to train more than 20,000 students and enrolled 2,000 plus students for management training interviews. We have one of the students from IHM, actually Ahmedabad, right here with us, which I just saw, Pragyan. He is actually a management training joining Hilton and also one of the students from the Young Leaders Bootcamp. And there are, I'm sure, many of them who are here from IHM Pusa, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and whatnot. You name the college and we will be present. I'm sure you all know us. If you do not follow us on Instagram, this could be a great opportunity to click the subscribe button so that you keep updated with the upcoming sessions like these and you know what are the updates. If you have any questions, the chat box is now open and you can always throw in your questions if you have any. Otherwise, have a great day. Have a wonderful day. Just for your certificates, make sure that you have taken a screenshot, tagged us on our Instagram handle. And once you have received your certifications, please do post them on LinkedIn to receive your gift for attending the free management training and interview preparation workshop link on 20th of January 2024. Right. All the best. And thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for joining in and being so actively present here. Thank you.